Thank you for tuning into the Northern Miner, recording at the PDAC convention in Toronto. Joining me now is Kingfisher Metals' founder and CEO, Dustin Perry. Thanks for making time to be here.
Thanks for hosting. Yeah.
All right, so let's start with asking you to introduce the company and its main asset to our viewers that are not familiar with the story.
Yeah, so we're probably about a 4-year-old junior. We started in southern BC, but we've made a pivot into the Golden Triangle. We did that approximately 2 years ago, just after PDAC 2023. Since then, we've been on a very aggressive land consolidation endeavor, and now we've got the largest contiguous project held by a junior in the Golden Triangle. The project, sits on Highway 37, the namesake, and it borders Newmont to the north, Teck to the northwest, and then Teck and Newmont with their Galore Creek project kind of surrounding us around there. So it's well located, incredibly prospective, and we've got a very good technical team to assess it.
Okay, so let's look back the past 12 months. Walk me through some of the key objectives and achievements.
Yeah, so as I said, we've been in this consolidation phase for the company of really securing land, leading into what we believe is an impending bull market, and it appears there's a lot more volume coming through, so it does look like we're heading in that direction. So we've been able to pick up ground cheaply, just like a real estate developer would, buy low, sell high. That's the whole goal here, grab as much ground as we can that makes sense. It's contiguous, so it's manageable from a holding cost perspective. And the targets on this ground are all large-scale copper gold porphyry targets, similar to the other deposits in the region. So that that's been a big part of it. Additionally to that, we did work last summer. We took a step back and didn't drill. We didn't drill because the cost of capital was high, and because in order to get a bump on your share price, you need to have ridiculous results these days. So we didn't. We went back, took a step back, made sure our drill targets would be incredible going into, refine them and de-risk them as much as possible going into a drill program, which we will do this year. So we've done that. We've doubled our geological team. Board update coming very soon here tomorrow on Monday. Doing everything to get this company set up for success, and with the ultimate goal being an exit with a major miner buying us. So we're trying to do everything to tick the boxes.
All right, so holding such a large land package, what kind of new technologies are you deploying to break down the prospective anomalies and develop your priority drill targets?
Well, so we've got an incredible amount of data on a project this big. There's been active work here since the 60s. Some like a recent hiatus in work until we kind of came in. But with all this data, it's difficult to manage it. So we've been using Verify AI. Their machine learning, they've helped us ingest this data. They've been able to identify some new prospective areas that weren't necessarily visible to us. Part of the problem when you've got such a big area is you've got a lot of good drill targets. But what about, and you're drawn to the areas that you've got the most confidence in, but what about the areas outside of there? And it's helping us see patterns in other areas, and hopefully we'll get to drill test some this year. Another thing that it's doing is telling us where we need to collect more information. So part of a program, which isn't fully planned yet, but we're working on that for this summer, will include a very significant regional budget to fill in gaps in the database so we can really target this entire 850 square kilometer perspective trend.
All right, forgive me for this question, but the industry is often a little bit hesitant in adopting new technologies. Was there any kind of a hesitation in using AI for exploration? How did you overcome that, if that was true?
No, we're a small team, so we can use whatever help we can get. And like every big technological advance in the mining industry has resulted in a surge of discoveries. A good example would be when IP geophysics was invented, or mag surveys were invented. You had surges in discoveries of, say, porphyry deposits. I think AI can be that. We're at the early stages of it, but it looks like it's headed in the right direction. It doesn't replace a geologist, it's another tool. So you got to use every tool you can, and it's relatively low cost.
I get
And no impact too. That's the other big key. Like every other survey you do, even if it's an airborne survey, it does have some environmental impact. AI, I guess it uses a bit of electricity, and hopefully we'll find the copper to move that electricity, but it is no impact. It's a desktop study.
All right. Okay, so let's look forward again. The next 12 months, what are some of the major value-driving catalysts that you are working towards?
Well, right now, we had a great day on Friday. We traded up 24%. We're at the highest share price since November 2023.
What drove that?
I think people are starting to catch on. I still think we're incredibly undervalued for what we have, and there's the shareholder registry is very, very tight and very strong in the company. But we raised money at 16.5 cents in January, and we're now at 28.5 cents. So that's a catalyst in a way. It's getting more eyeballs on us. But the big catalysts are going to be our exploration program this year. It's going to be a large program. We've got 1.2 million in the bank right now, so we will have to fund that. And everybody coming into that last raise knew that. The market knows that. I'm fully transparent on that. But it's going to be an incredibly exciting program this summer where we're going to go follow up on some historic exploration success. Williams, for example, they drilled 190 meters of about 0.6 gold, 0.5 copper, and we think it looks a lot like Red Chris, so we're going to drill some deep holes and look to prove that out. But then we're also going to test look-alike targets in the same area that have high-grade epithermal gold mineralization above them with concealed porphyry targets. So it's very, de-risked targets in elephant country in the Golden Triangle. We've got all the ground. We've got the area play if we find something because we've got all the ground around it. And we've got a very seasoned technical team. We have a new VP Exploration who's worked in porphyries for 20 years. Our Chief Geo, Gail Febo, did her master's degree on KSM. Charlie Gregg, one of our advisors, discovered GT Gold. All three of them are at our booth right now at PDAC looking at the drill core. So everything ticks the boxes in this regard. It's still exploration, but the risk-reward opportunity here is very good. So the catalyst is going to be drilling.
Okay, and then just remind me, what does your share structure look like? And you've mentioned some prospective backers, but who are some of your key backers right now?
Yeah, so we're at 56 million shares right now. We completed a rollback beginning of last year, and existing funds would be Plethora out of Amsterdam. We got Crescat out of Denver. We got Lowell out of Melbourne. Alejandro Gubbins, a Peruvian mining, comes from a Peruvian mining family. He's our largest shareholder. Many other shareholders I'm not going to list on here that have written significant checks recently and would be well-recognized names. A very tight list. I've put a lot of my money into this company over the last couple of years, basically everything I can afford. So it's a very strong list of investors in this company.
All right. Anything else to mention about the company or its strategy or its assets?
I think we got the best drill target in the Golden Triangle, and we've got an incredible land position in the place the majors want to be. Newmont said they're going to be there for 100 years. There's other companies that want to get in there. We work with a very a sophisticated indigenous group, the Tahltan, that understand mining. They are the only indigenous group in our area. We have agreements in place with them, and we're looking at further strengthening that relationship. Everything's set up here for making a discovery and having a big success on that.
Exciting stuff. All right, you heard it from the founder and CEO of Kingfisher Metals, Dustin Perry.